Spoilers for all the Deadpool kills comics. Welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, and I am beyond excited for the release of the third Deadpool movie. Recently, the trailer released for this movie, confirming many of the story details that people have been throwing around. Before then, we had been working off of set and story leaks, and aside from one key aspect, we'd guessed awfully close to what looks to be the actual tale. However, as much as looking at the leaks and watching the trailer can tell us about the narrative details of the film, what do we actually know about the movie Deadpool and Wolverine? And what should we expect from it? The Merc with the Mouth ends the second movie by receiving a device that can travel across time and maybe even timelines? I'm pretty sure it can because Deadpool goes to different universes like Wolverine Origins. He even goes into what is presumably our own universe to kill Ryan Reynolds before he can star in the cinematic travesty that was Green Lantern. As he is doing this, he claims to be
just cleaning up the timelines.
Surely the writers couldn't have known where the trilogy was going, but this could be great setup for something incredible. The trailer not only confirms that the title of the movie will be Deadpool and Wolverine, but it also presents us with the information that the movie will start a little ways down the road for Wade. While I thought we might be picking up right where we left off, with some entity grabbing Deadpool after deciding they had had enough of his time-skipping shenanigans, but I wasn't far off. As it turns out, the movie will start much later, with Wade already having messed around with his timeline, to the point that he is now happy with where his life is at, and the entity that grabs him is none other than the TVA. Keeping all of that in mind, what do you think is going to be the plot of Deadpool 3? I've heard rumblings that the narrative will take inspiration from Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, making something more akin to a Deadpool Kills the Fox Marvel Universes, but I don't really want that to be the case. Bringing back all the Marvel Fox characters just to kill them would be a little much, not that I'm saying it couldn't work. Plus, I would rather they take inspiration from the spin-off stories that spawned from Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. The original comic felt almost mean-spirited, not that I didn't enjoy parts of it. Stories like Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe Again and Deadpool Kills Deadpool would be much more interesting to me, though they are infinitely more complex than Wade suffering from a psychotic break. The first story pitted Deadpool against Taskmaster for its climactic conclusion, which may have worked well enough in its story, but I much preferred who its sequel chose to fight against Deadpool in its ending, Gwenpool. It'll probably be reserved for a single cameo if they do this at all, but I would love to see Emma Stone come back as a crazy version of her character from the Amazing Spider-Man series. I'm not sure how well it could work, but they could even pull a Deadpool Kills Deadpool and make the main antagonist another version of himself that is evil or misguided. The more I think about it, the more I kind of like that idea, but then again, I don't know if I can tolerate more than one Deadpool on screen at a time. In the trailer, it looks like the TVA might be the ones trying to control him, suiting him up and letting him loose on something for some reason. I can't imagine they would ask him to go around killing the old Marvel Fox characters, but through a series of events, I guarantee you that will end up happening. An element from the comic that I want to see, aside from the protagonist going around killing memorable characters, is a villain that essentially beats Deadpool by breaking him. Psycho Man, a small-time villain in the grand scheme of things, doesn't end up being in the first story that much, but the lingering effects of what he does to Deadpool is the reason the story starts in the first place. Put him inside the head of whoever's in charge of the TVA, or more specifically whoever's assigned to handle Deadpool. The TVA has never been seen in a good light, but that way they aren't fully villainized going forward. So will the antagonist be Psycho Man? If so, he can't come from the microverse like the comics, but he could be from the quantum realm. Make a joke about how nothing good could come from there. Though, I doubt they'll make him the bad guy. In truth, the villain could be anyone. But, whoever it is, they need to break Wade in a way that he hasn't been before. Physically, sure, but most of all, psychologically. I'm imagining the scene where Ajax tortures Wade to the brink of death daily, but 10 times worse. How will that be done? I don't know, some sick freak can come up with that. The one thing that I can come up with is pointing at Deadpool's formulaic creation. Everything about him is copied off of someone else. He's a wisecracker because the writers wanted a Spider-Man-like character. His mask is basically the same as Spider-Man's too. He breaks the fourth wall because the She-Hulk run at the time did that and it was popular. Most of all, his look and name is a direct ripoff of Deathstroke, otherwise known as Slade Wilson from DC. But none of that has to be a bad thing. Direct copies of characters exist all over comics. In fact, a Deadpool story is the best place to make light of that. It could be poking at it in a fun way, but I would prefer it to be much darker. I mean, wouldn't it be fun to see Deadpool have a full-on existential crisis about how every aspect of him is a ripoff? There's plenty of narratives and themes that can be pulled from the Deadpool Kills comics, but the biggest aspect that they need to take is how dark some of those stories can get. I'm not sure if I loved it overall, but parts of that story can definitely be used. That's the only aspect that I need the movie to adapt. Anything else is irrelevant to me. Add in any cameos you feel would be fun, but make the theme behind the movie dark so that there's a narrative glue behind it all. Deadpool's existential crisis could cover this, or it could be from something more extensive. Just make sure that the story gets devastating when it needs to be. One question I still haven't asked is how Wolverine will play into all of this. What version of him are we even going to get? I figured we'd get him in a substantial role for the movie, but now that his name is in the title, that has to be true. I'll definitely talk about it in its own dedicated video, but until that comes out, comment below how you think they should implement Wolverine into this third Deadpool movie. And of course, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and enjoy a delicious sandwich.